off the video.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to our webinar. We're going to be talking about OneDrive for Business today. I know we're all really excited to hear about this, so we're going to get started in a moment. I just want to remind everyone that this and all of our webinars are recorded. So this one will be up by the end of the day on our website, abc-computers.com. And if you have any questions, you can type them into that question box. I will get them called out and answered for you. So without further delay, Tim, I will hand it right over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Abby, and good morning, everybody. I'd like to thank everybody for attending this morning. We're going to start off a little bit this morning here, just a little different than normal on our webinars. I'm going to share a little video provided from Microsoft on OneDrive and kind of an introduction to start the webinar. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play that.
On each of them. That makes it difficult to always have what you need wherever you are. OneDrive is free online storage that you can access from any of your devices, and it's built into the latest version of Windows. When you save a file to OneDrive, like from Office, it's always with you. And you can open and edit it on any device you use. So add your favorite photos, home videos, documents, and other files to OneDrive and get to them from anywhere. It's easy to access your OneDrive on the go. There's an app for Android, iOS, and Windows Phone. If you have OneDrive on your phone, when you take a photo, you can easily save it and get to it from your other devices. So start adding your files now and always have them with you.
All right, so I just wanted to play that video. It's a great introduction to what we're going to be talking about today as far as OneDrive versus OneDrive for Business and using the cloud storage that Microsoft has been providing to us now for quite some time. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and tell you a little bit about ABC Computers. We're an IT services firm and reseller. We've been in business since the mid-1980s. Our founder started the first location in Waupaca, Wisconsin. We've since grown to 4 main locations throughout Wisconsin and Indiana, but we have team members all throughout the Midwest and actually throughout the country, to be honest, spread across Texas, Indiana, Boston area, Tennessee, Minnesota. We've got people kind of all over the place, and as we continue to grow and as we find team members in locations all throughout the United States, you know, with technology today, we you know, aren't really restrained to having people local to us all of the time. So you can just see those numbers continue to grow with the amount of remote staff that we have, and as we continue to add people, it seems that more and more of them are remote that way. So spread out more and more from all over the country here. Sorry about that, I had a little technical difficulty. So I just want to jump in here and talk about some of the customers that we work with. So, and what we do here is we help small to medium-sized businesses leverage technology to become more productive and profitable. It's pretty much that simple, and we like to help people use the technology that they already own or help them adjust and improve the technology that they own so that they can be more efficient and ultimately make more money as a business and be more effective in the jobs and stuff that they're doing. These are just a few of the companies that we offer services to right now. Is the Bulldog Battery and Culver's are some of the names you probably heard of. Saris as well, maybe even Lids. Those are pretty well-known names throughout the North America for the most part. We've helped all of those customers in some way, shape, or form improve their processes and services, and improve their overall business model and help them reach the goals that they're trying to reach. So a little bit about myself. I've been with ABC since 2011. I spent the first 2 years here as a network engineer. I've been in my current role as the infrastructure services team manager now for going on 2.5 years or so. It's been an exciting few years for ABC. We've really grown quite a bit since I started here. Gosh, I would say almost 20 employees larger now than we were. We've had people come and go, but the core team has stayed the same. The company continues to grow. We continue to have a growing backlog of work that we struggle to try to keep all our hands on and stuff. So it's been really exciting here. There's a lot of changes going on, with Microsoft and the cloud services and everything that they've been doing and changing. It really keeps us all on our toes here. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm really excited to be part of the team here, and really excited to be part of the future here in the direction that the company's going. So as you're aware, today we're going to talk about OneDrive and what is OneDrive, and ultimately what is OneDrive for Business, because the two of the products aren't exactly the same. You might have heard of them talked about kind of interchangeably, just OneDrive, or OneDrive for Business. But OneDrive for Business is ultimately Microsoft's hosted platform for storing and managing and editing your documents. Microsoft provides a full, rich set of applications, the cloud applications for you to edit your documents in the cloud, in the web browser, any place that you have access to a device, computer, and an internet connection. Your documents in OneDrive are stored safely and securely. Microsoft has some of the most state-of-the-art data centers known to man at this point. They have virtual fortresses built around their data centers and their server racks. Your data is secure. Microsoft has several layers of security on that data, not to mention the physical security on the compounds themselves, where all the information is stored throughout North America and the world, for that matter. And OneDrive is flexible and scalable. With OneDrive being so flexible, you can grow OneDrive in size, the amount of data that you store, but you can also grow OneDrive and have it roll right into a SharePoint deployment. Your OneDrive team sites and that can have data migrated and transferred right over from your current OneDrive if you start small and you start to grow and you decide that you want to add on and start to add features and functionality that aren't available in OneDrive for Business even, but are in some of the more flexible SharePoint platforms that are offered with Office 365. So today we're going to talk about OneDrive for Business. OneDrive is a free version of the OneDrive for Business product line. It offers still a very flexible platform for you to store and edit your documents, photos. If you're managing any kind of spreadsheets or anything like that, you can still edit the documents in the online web apps. You can still co-author. You still have versions available of those documents, and you can still sync your documents to your local computer, all with the free Microsoft OneDrive product line. You also get 15 gigs of free storage just for signing up with your Microsoft OneDrive account. Today, though, we're going to focus on the pieces of OneDrive for Business that separate the two. So, as you see in the image on the screen here, the groups, the advanced versioning, the content approval, eDiscovery, and the enterprise search, as well as the Yammer discussion. Those are the things that actually separate our professional version or our business version of OneDrive from our pro or from our free version that we would use for more home use or maybe for school and things like that. So the OneDrive for Business only version it gives you the versioning option, but it doesn't give you the advanced versioning. So what does that mean with the advanced versioning? We're going to cover that in a little bit more detail in just a moment, but advanced versioning is going to allow you to select just how many copies of the documents that you want to save. Do you want to save major or minor versions of those documents? There's a little bit of flexibility there with how you can configure the versioning and how you can control the document sets that are being edited and maintained by your staff or your team. The groups also are something that we're going to discuss here. Just to point out there, as we see groups, we think OneDrive for Business, we think Office 365, and we think groups. And even for myself, I'm guilty of this. Immediately when I was reading about Microsoft and their groups back when they were releasing this stuff, I was thinking, oh, distribution groups and Exchange and how that's going to roll over, but it's really not that. So we're going to build on that a little bit, but it's not distribution groups at all. It's more like a group workspace, or even a small conference room or a war room, if you would, for people to create on the fly, and you join, you collaborate. They're very productive type settings there for people to get stuff done. You'll see that in the design itself there. So Microsoft has really done a lot in the productivity area of Office 365. So we think about some of the changes that have happened with Windows 8, and then to Windows 8.1, and then to Windows 10. And a lot of that stuff was very aesthetic, very appealing to the eye, very smooth, the way the operating systems were working, the way the changes were coming. Microsoft has really focused, although they've done a lot of that same stuff with Office 365, they have really focused on the productivity piece of Office 365, and it really shows as you're using it more and more just how much it can save you time, and the ease that they put into it. It's so easy to navigate around your SharePoint sites or your OneDrive for Business information and documents just by the way they have everything set up. Even as we talk about the groups and getting into things like content approval, all of the stuff that they've designed in Office 365 is so easy to use that it doesn't make sense not to if you can see the business benefit there for you. So here's just a more complete breakdown of the features between Office 365 here with OneDrive and OneDrive for Business. There's a couple things I just wanted to point out. The major ones here are the versioning. You'll see I've got them highlighted in blue here. You've got auditing and reporting, which you're not getting with the free version. You can create your custom views, which basically means you can just kind of rearrange the portal itself, create the way things and the information that you have in your sites are displayed for you as you log in. Very specific just to your account as you log in there. But then with the OneDrive for Business, you also get added enterprise features such as the single sign-on, the Active Directory Federation services, and directory sync. All of that is really just, in a nutshell, a password synchronization. So depending on whether that's syncing up with your on-premise Active Directory, or if you have an Azure deployment and you have Azure Active Directory that's running, either one of those things would be things that you would sync up with those features. And then also the policy and compliance controls. Being able to control things like litigation hold and holding onto documents and things like that. Those are things that some businesses really require. If you have legal needs to, if you're doing tax or that type of information where you are required to hold on to documents and information, all of that kind of stuff comes to play in your policy and compliance controls, which you won't be getting with the OneDrive. And then the total amount of storage, as you can see there, it's quite drastic. The 15 gigabytes to 1 terabyte of storage. There is a 15 gigabyte add-on for the OneDrive right now. Microsoft is calling it like a photo add-on. I think that's pretty common across some of the platforms like Google and Apple as well, where they're giving you your base amount of storage, but if you have devices synced up to that account, they're providing you additional amounts of storage. So if you do set up a free OneDrive account and you do sync one of your devices to it, you will most likely end up with 30 gigs of free storage right now for the promotion that Microsoft has going on. So then here's just an overview of the OneDrive plans and offers. As you can see there, they are very affordable. If you're looking at just adding some storage space, $2 a month for 100 gigs of storage space, again, you still get the full rich web apps and all of that along with it. This just increases the amount of space that you're getting. But if you look at the 1 terabyte, I mean, $10 a month for 1 terabyte of storage, is a pretty good deal. Again, with all of the features that come with OneDrive, there's not a whole lot of storage space services out there that provide the functionality that Microsoft provides and the features that Microsoft provides with the amount of space that you get and the amount of storage you're getting to back up all your stuff too. So also I would add to that, as far as Microsoft has been, with their push and all their mobile devices and everything else, they've really come a long ways, at least from my perspective, in how they're crossing platforms more. Now, we saw it at WPC last year. We've been seeing it now for a couple of years, but it's really starting to come to fruition now, where we're really seeing how OneDrive and all of this stuff, where we see, now it's just an update coming to the iOS or an update coming to Android. We're not waiting for this stuff to become available on iOS and Android and other mobile platforms. It's here, it's available, and the apps themselves work very well. They're very smooth. And Microsoft continues to keep them updating. They've got that perpetual rollout of updates and enhancements that they're doing, pretty much on a monthly basis to their Office 365 suites and mobile apps and all of that. So, there's a lot of good stuff coming down the line from Microsoft. This is just some of it right here with OneDrive. But with all the apps and the enhancements, they're making it really hard to not do something like this for your business, for your personal use, for whatever it is. It's a real great product. So like I said, today we're going to talk about some of the differentiators that separate OneDrive for Business from OneDrive. And I've got them listed here in the groups and the versioning, the content approval, the eDiscovery, and the enterprise search. Delve, we'll get into that, which is really cool. And then the Yammer discussions. So we're going to go ahead and just jump right into groups here. So as I mentioned before, the groups that we're talking about here are not distribution groups in Exchange. They're in Office 365, but it's more of a small group collaboration space, or like a meeting room, or a place where you guys would just get together and work on a small task or project or whatever it is, some kind of team event or thing that you're trying to work on. They're easily created in OneDrive. You can go right in, you can see right there, you just go in, you create your group, you give it a name and an ID, you set your privacy settings, and then that's it. Beyond that, when you hit create, you can add users to it on the fly right there, or you can add them in later, people that have access to the group or members of the group, and then you're in. Once it's created, it provides you a conversation space for the team. It's a medium for sharing documents back and forth. And it's a shared calendar for whatever it is that you created the group for. So you got the group there, you've got a shared calendar there, you can collaborate on tasks, you can get things done on a small scale, maybe for productivity on simple, it's perfect for small unmanaged collaborative tasks and projects. At least that's how I feel when I see it, and when we've been using it a little bit internally. It's really good for those kinds of things. So maybe a small meeting thing, something that's carrying on for a week or two, but typically unmanaged type tasks, it's great. So, and then this is just kind of an overview of the intuitive portal design there. You can see right there that you can sync the files, but you've got your conversations, your calendars, and your documents. It's really designed for productivity. It's discussions, documents, and deadlines. It's a project through and through. That's it. We're here to discuss the project, and we've got documents related to the project. We've got a calendar to track the deadlines for the project. It's a real great interface. It's real easy to access and use. And then with the conversation window as well, just to sit and have conversations that are private to the group, to the task that you're working on, that aren't necessarily something that has a home on Yammer or something like that, which we'll talk a little bit more about here in the next couple of slides. So OneDrive for Business offers the advanced versioning options that you're not going to get in OneDrive. Now in OneDrive, you are going to get versioning, but you're going to get just an automated versioning. It's going to be full versions. It's going to be at the trigger points that Microsoft says it's creating a version when you're saving the document, and it's only going to be for a small subset of versions because it's all automated. With the OneDrive for Business, you can actually set up the advanced versioning, and you can choose to create major versions you can create your minor versions or drafts, and you can also choose how many of each of those versions to save, so that if you've got project documents or maybe you've been working on things, you know, and you've gone through and you've changed and edited and tweaked documents over and over, you know, and you just, you know, you really can't find the right verbiage or wording for something you were working on. Well, maybe it was a couple of revisions back. You know, you'll have that access to go in and just on the fly pull up and look at documents where you can see the version 6, 7 versions ago. You know, right now we've got set to keep 15 versions of documents. It's more of a trial just to see, you know, what users are going to be accessing and what people are doing just naturally. We're kind of letting the amount of versions develop organically ourselves, but you know, there is always that time where it has come in handy for me personally. It's a great feature to be able to control and have that additional configuration to be able to set that up. The draft item security, you know, that is really only in conjunction when you're using the content approval. So you have the content approval piece of it, which is going to allow you to have a funnel, essentially, for content that is published or available to anyone else to see. So the draft item security is going to have drafts of documents that haven't been approved yet. Well, we don't need everybody in the company going in and reviewing draft documents and items and commenting on them or making changes to them or whatever. So we can change that security so that only users who can approve items, you know, and the author of the items maybe can actually access and see the draft documents. So they give you some flexibility, a little bit of control there with your revisions and your drafts as you're going through the approval process for documentation. So speaking of the content approval, so we're gonna talk a little bit about that component. You know, the content approval is going to require somebody to approve new documents and changes to any existing documents, essentially saving them in that draft. So as we look at the draft and as we have the documents stored in our OneDrive for Business, you know, anything that's sitting there waiting to be approved is going to be in a pending status. So then you could have your own business workflows that are in control of who's approving these documents and have that configured so that as the process, if you're working on, let's say you're working on updating some of your procedure documents for internal tasks and such, and you have a filter, you have somebody that's in charge of making sure, you know, the final copy is signed off on. So you could actually use this feature to have a whole team of people working on making your changes and edits for you, all while having, you know, a single person go through and approve all documents and sign off and let everything go then to be published or accessible on the site itself. It's a really great feature. There's a lot of other uses for it. You know, it's something that Microsoft has put a lot of thought into. It has been available in versions of SharePoint, but it's really come a long way in Office 365 here. So you can also reject requests, so it's not necessarily just a pending status and approved. The approver can certainly reject the requests completely, not giving anybody the ability to then see or read them, give them back to the person to make additional edits or changes. They would then roll back into that pending status again and just keep going until documents are then approved. And then, as I mentioned, the draft item security, it's only used during this component of the content approval, and it really just allows us to prevent other people from accessing the drafts that don't need to see them. So next we're going to talk about the OneDrive version history. You know, we can keep the version history, like I said, for as many major versions and minor versions as we want to. Microsoft lets it be pretty flexible. Just note that it is going to use some of your storage that you have there, but you know, it is a feature that you're going to have to account for as you're using OneDrive for Business and SharePoint, because it is something that as you're working on projects and things like that, that is used quite regularly. And then requiring a checkout. SharePoint and Office 365 and OneDrive require you, or offer the ability to require checkout to access certain documents, to review, or even to just get to or access them and view them. You know, examples of this could be closed project documents, signed work order documents, or even sensitive information. This type of stuff is if it's got a home on SharePoint, work order documents, certainly closed projects that maybe haven't been, triggered by a workflow to be removed from SharePoint archived yet, but we certainly don't want people out there editing them and changing them, so we could adjust permissions. We have a checkout process for things like that. There's a lot of different methods we could do here to control the flow of that information and make sure that only the changes that are supposed to be made to that stuff is being made to it. So, and by the people that need to be making the changes. So then the OneDrive for Business feature with the eDiscovery. eDiscovery allows you to gather and identify information for you as legal evidence in cases. So you can present that information if you're under some sort of audit, if you're going through any kind of legal representation where you need to gather end user information, SharePoint site documents, project documents, things of just about any nature. Even emails and email folders and such. You're going to have all that stuff available. Now, in years past, there would have been a lot of hands-on. You'd have a whole team of people going through email boxes, creating folders, sifting through folders and folders of online documents and stores for information. And with the eDiscovery, you can actually set it up. You can configure this so that with the eDiscovery Center, you can actually do searches and queries, look for all the information. You can then export and save that information so that it's presentable to somebody, so that it can be reviewed or handed off for review to somebody else. The eDiscovery itself is a feature that requires a bit of configuration. You do have to walk through the process of setting up the eDiscovery Center, getting everything in place, and completing all of the steps as you see here, the A through E that I've got listed here. So once you've got that eDiscovery Center created, you've got to configure Exchange Online as the result source. You've got to create eDiscovery managers and set permissions and such on Exchange and on SharePoint in order to be able to have eDiscovery actually pull the information that you're looking to gather effectively. So Delve Enterprise Search is I think it's one of the newest, one of the coolest new features that Microsoft has offered with the Office 365 suite. The Delve Enterprise Search provides a place for you to go just to browse everything that is relevant to you, whether it's documents and conversations, things that you might be following. But the cool part about it is it puts everything together for you and learns on your behaviors and your communication patterns and projects you're working on, and who you report to, and others from your team that report to that same person. So it learns based off of all of that information, and it builds out this essentially it's this map of you, and it displays this information in a very easy to navigate, easy to view portal where you can access all of the documents that you've been working on, pretty much everything that is in Office 365. It puts it all in a summary of a page. It gives you a nice image for you to be able to view and edit the documents or access, and do other things as well. So it really, what it's doing is it's helping you discover the information that's likely to be most interesting to you right now at this very point in time. You don't have to remember the title of a document or where it's stored. It's going to show you documents no matter where they're stored in OneDrive for Business or in sites in Office 365. And it lets you see documents you have permissions to, and that's it. It's not going to show you names of documents or find things that aren't relevant or that may seem relevant to what you're searching for, but that you don't even have permissions to view, or that are in sites. It's only going to display what's relevant there for you. So how it works. So Delve is when you and your colleagues view and edit the documents, as I said, Delve's going to learn from what you're doing, and it's going to tailor the information every time you log into the home page. It's going to change the information from now, from what you've seen this morning, potentially, and tomorrow morning is going to be different from what you're looking at right now, because it's learning as you go. And if you're in and out of documents all day today, those documents might be different from what you're working on tonight, which might change the way that it's going to display the information for you for tomorrow morning. It's designed to make it easier for you to find things, and it's really a great search tool. This is just kind of an overview of what you are seeing when you log in and you're looking at Delve. So as you go into Delve, you can see there it's just opening things up. It's displaying everything in this tile format of documents. You can see that's a PowerPoint document there on the left. It's a Word document there on the right. You can view the information of the person that, or the profile information of the person that owns the document. You can email everybody that's tied to the document there. You can open up and start a Yammer conversation from within that document to kind of keep a conversation more focused about something specific that way. It's like I said, it's a really great piece of technology. I think it's a really great enhancement to Office 365 and what Microsoft has been doing from a collaboration and sharing perspective. And just the way that it's working is really phenomenal. I mean, the content dynamically updates, and it's really great. So this is just a little bit, I like to show this slide because it really kind of gives you a picture of what Delve is thinking and doing when it's trying to pull up your information. I mean, it's reviewing your emails and documents you're working on and people you're working with and communicating with and things that have been shared with you. And it's linking and tying all that together and creating this giant map of everything. And that's how it's deciding what it's displaying for you on your Delve screen. It collects and analyzes signals, is what Microsoft calls them. And you and your colleagues create all of these signals as you're working together and working on things throughout the day. So, for example, when you and a colleague modify or view the same document, it's a signal that you're likely to be working together. So that triggers Delve to kind of understand what's going on, and then it keeps building on all of these signals and creating this map and then displaying the information that it feels is relevant there for all of the signals that you and your team are putting out there for it to learn from. So and to that point, you know, the more you use Delve, the more information you keep in Delve, the more documents you share in Delve, the more projects you work on in OneDrive for Business and in SharePoint Online, the more Delve is going to learn and the more accurate and helpful it's going to be to you as you start to use it. So Yammer discussion, it's really built on the open communication for your teams again. Now, you might be sensing a theme here with the open communication from Microsoft. You know, we've got the groups that we talked about. We've got the enterprise search with Delve. You've got the Yammer discussions. Even within the groups, we had conversations as a piece that was separate from Yammer. You know, everything is collaboration and communication and keeping things somewhat simplified for you and your team. You know, we don't want everybody to be learning and relearning how to reuse the tools. We want the tools to work for us, and we want to be able to make sure that everybody can work with the tools. And you know, Yammer is just another point of that. I mean, it's just a great collaboration tool. It brings people together, your conversations and data again. You can share your documents, you can share conversations, create groups. You know, work with people inside and outside of your organization to help streamline some of the projects you're working on. You can bring in vendors and customers, you know, all collaborating together, you know, with a common goal. It's really meant to be that social media replacement for, you know, the enterprise discussion, for the business discussion, for your partner discussion, you know, with your vendors or with your customers. It's really a platform for all of that. It's a platform for learning. Microsoft has many groups out there, public and private, that are designed for learning that you can join, you can follow. You know, it's like-minded discussions from you know, things that we are doing every day. People that are in the same areas as you, that are working on the same things as you. It's a discussion point for all of that. You know, Yammer is it's just a great place to collaborate. Now, the one thing that Yammer offers that other places don't, or other features aren't offering right now, and I don't mean other social media features, because it's not really in comparison with other social media features like Facebook or anything like that. It's really designed for the enterprise professionals, you know, those type of conversations. So some of the cool features that it brings to the table are things like creating polls and sharing announcements with your team. These are things that are just built in by default. So if you want to gather information and you know, just get people to come out and take a poll. You know, I mean, how are things going? I mean, what's going on with this new feature? What's everybody think of Windows 10 now that we've rolled it out to everybody in the company? You know, just a great place to collaborate. You know, share information, get all that kind of stuff together. You know, for us at ABC, you know, as you saw earlier in the slide, we're very spread out. We're all over the Midwest. You know, the U.S. for that matter. And for us to have a place like Yammer where we can come in, it's really like a replacement for your everyday water cooler talk. You know, we've got 15 to 20 employees that predominantly work from their home offices right now, so we don't get to share in that, you know, that group discussion or that one-on-one discussion or just that, you know, that water cooler chit-chat about what's going on. And we like to use Yammer as a home for all of that. That's the place to go with that kind of discussion, or talk about what's going on with a project, or maybe something that's frustrating you, or you know, just trying to collaborate and share ideas on troubleshooting something. I mean, Yammer is a really great central location to keep all of that stuff housed in your groups and in your conversations there. So. So with that said, I really want to just roll through a little bit of what Microsoft has on the horizon for their roadmap. As you can see from the Q2 release, I wanted to leave that on there because I thought it was really great, because it was a good point of what we touched on earlier about iOS and Android. You can see that they're continuing to improve more and more in the mobile experience, the in, on, and with Microsoft. They really want you cross-platform, whether you're on an Apple device or a Google or Android phone or whatever it is. You know, they want you to have a good experience with their products, hands down. And you can see that in their roadmap. I mean, they're working on Android. I mean, you must see iOS and Android mentioned 3 or 4 times on just this roadmap here alone. You know, with Q3, we've got other things coming here with the shareable links and the next-gen sync client, which I'm really curious to see more about. And then with the Windows 10 Universal app in Q4, Microsoft is really doing a lot of cool things with Windows 10 and OneDrive integration. One thing to mention with that upgrade with the Windows 10 is that if you're logging into a non-domain joined PC, Microsoft will automatically attempt to sync your files and directories to your OneDrive account now with Windows 10, as you're signing in with a Windows Live ID now, mainly by default. Excuse me. And then obviously, as you can see, more mobile enhancements coming. No timelines planned for those, but the offline mobile editing, the offline mobile folders, again, really pushing that mobile experience and improving the cross-platform utilization of all of their products. And so, I guess without further ado, that's the conclusion of what I had to cover here today for the overview of the OneDrive for Business features and advanced features. You might ask how you can get started. We do have licensing experts on staff that can help with any questions that you might have, whether it's OneDrive or Office 365, or even if the service is right for you at all. Feel free to give them a call, call our 800 number, set up an appointment. We can certainly help out and answer any questions that you might have. So I guess that's all I had. Without anything else, I'd like to turn it back over to Abby and ask if we had any questions or anything.
Thanks, Tim. We do have a few questions. Here's the first one. What happens if I move items into or out of a shared folder?
When you move items between shared folders, they lose their existing permissions and get the permissions from the folder that you move them to. So an example of that would be if you move an item to a read-only folder, then it's going to become read-only. Moving an item from a shared folder to an unshared folder means that it's not going to be shared any longer for you. So, and those are basic Windows properties and permissions, all kind of through the course and evolution of Windows. So.
Okay, our next question.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Can this replace network or server shared folders?
So yes and no. It can replace your network folders. However, you're not going to set up your company network share on a OneDrive folder. The scenario that I could think of that would make sense would be much smaller scale. If you're 1, 2, or 3 users, you could certainly do something like that. However, the one thing that it can replace is if you have home drive folders, or if your users are using like a U drive or an H drive or something to store all of their documents, and you've got all of that on your local servers, you can certainly redirect your users' documents and have that directing to your OneDrive sync folder and backing up to your OneDrive for Business account that way. That's something that I do personally with all of my documents and with my OneDrive folder, but it's not going to replace like your company network share.
Okay, great. Our next question, can I rename a shared folder that I've added to my OneDrive?
You can. The name you give the folder is visible only to you though, and it's going to appear it's going to appear with that name anywhere you access OneDrive, so including on the website. So you can do it, yes.
Okay, great. Our next question, why don't items that have been deleted from a shared folder appear in my recycle bin?
Well, that can depend. Typically, items deleted from a shared folder on OneDrive.com are sent to the recycle bin of only the shared folder's owner. However, if you do sync your OneDrive on your computer, items deleted from a shared folder will appear in your computer's recycle bin. But note, only the owner of the shared folder can restore the item deleted from the folder. So.
Okay. Can I change the name or location of my OneDrive folder after it's created?
Unfortunately, you cannot. If you use File Explorer to rename or move your OneDrive folder, OneDrive will stop working. And really the reason that is because as you're setting up OneDrive and the services are being created, everything's tying back to that OneDrive folder. There's no way to reconfigure that or anything like that if you go to move and change folder names, so it's just going to break that connection and stop syncing your folders.
Okay, and can I choose folders in my OneDrive that I don't want to sync on my PC?
Yes, actually. When you first set up OneDrive, you get the choose folders to sync option. If you need to go back in and modify that, though, you can right-click the OneDrive icon down in your system tray in the lower right corner there, and then in settings, there's a choose folders tab that you can select, and then you can select the folders that you want to modify or that you want to back up or stop backing up.
Okay, great. Well, it looks like that is all the questions that we have right now, Tim. And just to remind everybody, we have recorded this webinar, so we're going to put it up on the website later this afternoon. That is abc-computers.com. And Tim, thank you so much. That was great and informative, and I know I learned some stuff about OneDrive, so I'm sure our attendees did as well.
Well, thank you very much, Abby, and thank you everybody who attended, and have a great day.